In early 1942, Allied pilots in the Pacific were being hunted. They were being stalked by a ghost, a phantom that moved with impossible grace and struck with lethal precision. It could outclimb, outturn, and outfly anything they had. They called it the Zero. This Japanese fighter was more than a machine. It was a myth, an invincible monster that was single-handedly winning the war for Japan. In the opening months of the war, the Zero achieved a terrifying 12-to-1 kill ratio, slaughtering Allied pilots and shattering their morale. U.S. military intelligence was baffled. Their own reports had claimed Japanese engineering was inferior, a cheap imitation of the West. But the ghost in the skies told a different story. It told a story of total domination. Subscribe for more untold World War II stories. How do you fight a monster that seems to have no weakness? You don't. You get lucky. You wait for the monster to make one single fatal mistake. June 4th, 1942. The remote, fog-shrouded Aleutian Islands of Alaska. Flight Petty Officer Tadayoshi Koga, an elite 19-year-old pilot, is flying his Mitsubishi Zero on a raid against Dutch Harbor. He is the master of his craft, flying the most feared aircraft in the world. During a strafing run, his Zero is struck by stray ground fire. The damage isn't critical, but his oil line is hit. He's leaking. He knows he can't make it back to his carrier. He has to land. Scanning the desolate landscape, he spots what looks like a miracle, a flat, grassy field on the nearby island of Akutan. It looks like a perfect emergency landing strip. This was the moment, the one in a million chance that would change everything. Koga made the fateful decision to perform a wheels-down landing. What he couldn't see from the air was that the perfect green field was a lie. It was a treacherous, hidden bog. As his Zero's wheels touched down, they didn't roll. They dug deep into the soft mud. The invincible fighter nosed over violently, flipping onto its back with a sickening crunch. The impact killed Koga instantly, but the very same soft mud that took the pilot's life also cushioned the plane's crash, preserving the world's most sought-after military secret in nearly perfect condition. The monster was now helpless, waiting to be found. For over a month, the Zero lay undiscovered. Then, on July 10th, a U.S. Navy patrol plane spotted the glint of the rising sun emblem on the overturned wreck. The significance of the discovery was seismic. For the first time, the Allies had captured a fully intact, modern Zero. It was an intelligence coup of immense proportions. The aircraft was carefully extracted from its muddy grave and shipped to San Diego. There, a team of America's best engineers and test pilots began what could only be described as an autopsy. They were about to peel back the skin of the monster and find its soul, and what they found would become the new Bible for every Allied pilot in the Pacific. They discovered the Zero's secrets, the cheat codes to killing the unkillable ghost. First, they tapped on the fuselage and realized it was paper thin. There was no armor to protect the pilot or vital systems. Next, they examined the fuel tanks and found they were not self-sealing. A single bullet could turn the Zero into a flying inferno. Then, they took it to the skies. They pushed it into a high-speed dive, and the controls began to freeze. The ghost couldn't maneuver at high speeds. Finally, they performed a sharp push over into a negative G maneuver, and the engine's carburetor flooded. The engine sputtered and died. The monster's heart had a fatal flaw. The legendary Zero, the terror of the skies, was a glass cannon. This intelligence was immediately weaponized. A new tactical doctrine was flashed to every carrier and airbase in the Pacific. The message was simple: do not turn with a Zero. Dive on it. Use your superior speed and weight to attack from above, then escape in a high-speed dive where it can't follow. The secrets were also fed directly to Grumman engineers, who were designing a new fighter. They used the Zero's weaknesses to create its perfect predator, the F6F Hellcat. The Hellcat was everything the Zero wasn't: heavily armored, self-sealing fuel tanks, and a 2,000-horsepower engine built for brutal, high-speed combat. The effect was immediate and devastating. The hunters became the hunted. American pilots, now armed with knowledge, actively sought out the Zero. The kill ratios began to plummet, then reverse. At the Battle of the Philippine Sea in 1944, in what became known as the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, the new Hellcat slaughtered Zeros at a rate of nearly 10-to-1. The ghost was no longer feared. It was just a target. The tide of the Pacific War didn't turn in a single, massive fleet engagement. It turned because of one unlucky pilot, one stray bullet, and one fatal mistake on a forgotten island. The most important aircraft ever shot down wasn't destroyed in a blaze of glory. It was captured almost perfectly, and in doing so, it gave up the secrets that led to the downfall of an empire.